to this very first edition of the NXT and 205 Live post-show live review for FightfulSelect.com. And guys, tonight, even if you're not a Fightful Select member, even if you're not subscribed, you get to see this for free. Isn't that amazing? I think that's incredible. And thank you very much for hopping in, for joining this incredible event. You know, I might actually want to go ahead and maybe tweet this out. That would be awesome. And look, I'm on pins and needles right now because I just finished watching NXT, and man, what a main event that we were lucky enough to get once again from the Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain. I can barely speak. We'll get to that though. We're going to jump. We're going to start by going over 205 Live, which was last night. And you know, I'm going to be doing this on a weekly basis. Tonight is free. I'm going to be doing this for FightfulSelect.com, Fightful Select, which is Fightful's premium service, which offers you a ton of content on top of the stuff that Fightful.com already offers. You get all sorts of different, a whole bunch of different new exclusive. That's the word I was looking for. Exclusive content just for signing up and becoming a member of FightfulSelect.com. You'll get extra podcasts. You get preview. You get news before it breaks. You get little news previews as well. Some articles. You get all sorts of great stuff. You get this review as well. You get retro reviews. I do retro reviews with Sean Ross Sapp once a month, so that's also very exciting, guys. There's so much going on. I mean, it's crazy, right? Oh, man. 205 Live, though, last night. We'll start with that. We're going to go right into the reviews because that's why you're here. We'll take a look at how things went down. It was a fun show. And I'm interested. I'm thinking about how 205 Live is going to develop as far as a brand goes over the next few months, and so on and so forth, because because you know they're obviously putting a lot of effort into developing. They're obviously putting a lot of effort into developing the NXT UK brand. And that's really interesting. You sort of wonder where they're going with 205 Live, how far, like what exactly the plan is as things keep going ahead. And the way I'm starting to see it, the plan for 205 Live right now, seems to be like kind of like to become the place for wrestling fans, like who are really just into wrestling, who want to see just some fantastic wrestling without all that many bells and whistles, you know, all that much. We have that on NXT, of course. We have some great matches there, but there's also a lot of character development. The characters are much more defined. There's a lot more work that's being put into it, into promos and so on and so forth. Whereas on the other side, on the 205 Live side, you don't get all that much character development. It's not a knock. The focus is much more in ring. Characters are much easier to get to understand, clearer. But then once you get into the in ring work, man, it becomes crazy. I'm just gonna hit this tweet here because I need to get this out. There we go. All right, now I'm no longer distracted. I'm not that great a multitasker, to be perfectly honest. Like, I was trying to get this out as I was talking, and I was distracted. You know, my brain doesn't work that way. I need to be focused on what I'm doing. You know, when I'm watching wrestling, you know, you lock the family up in a room somewhere. Like, stop it! Don't disturb me. All right, let's start with 205 Live. First match of the night was Kalisto versus Tony Nese. Kalisto comes out with, well, Lucha House Party. Lucha House Party starts every 205 Live, I think. You know, they come out with the noisemakers. Someone needs to explain to me why the noisemakers are considered to be a babyface thing, because they're not. They're annoying. They're made to be annoying, and if that's what they're doing, if that's if that's what Lucha House Party is, if they're supposed to be baby faces, they shouldn't be coming out with the noisemakers. Tony Nese comes out and he's flanked by Buddy Murphy, and they make a really good, really good pairing, if you ask me. You know, two really strong guys, cut guys, super serious, focused. This is a pairing that makes sense to me. So the match, it was a good match. Kalisto uses speed at first to dodge Nese's offense. Nese at some point grabs Kalisto by the head and throws him, but Kalisto lands a handstand where he basically slows down his momentum while he's on his hands, and I thought that was really cool. Some great balance, and it was really interesting. He goes for a slingshot or something. I'm not quite sure how to call it, some kind of slingshot, but Nese catches him and does a big overhead toss after that. We get a bit of groundwork here from Nese afterwards. Does some body scissors. And, you know, body scissors, as far as a submission maneuver goes, it doesn't come across as really credible to me. I don't know what you guys think. But yeah, you know, it doesn't come across as an extremely credible, like it's more of a guard thing, right? And it doesn't seem to wear down people that much. The House Party annoy Nese with the noisemakers. He gets, and because he got distracted, he gets a pair of feet to the face via Kalisto for his trouble. Kalisto gets a rope grip roundhouse kick on Nese, which was really cool to see. He gets a springboard corkscrew crossbody that Nigel calls the Mexico City Twister. Kalisto tries to go for the Selena del Sol. Nese blocks and rolls Kalisto into a package, then deadlifts him and throws him into the turnbuckle like a buckle bomb, basically. Nese is strong, man. He is a powerful guy. Murphy's on the outside. He's annoyed with the Lucha House Party and their noisemakers, and I can't say I blame him. Nese joins him on the outside. Kalisto springboards off the top rope and onto the heels. Everyone is laid out, but then everyone gets back up. Kalisto rolls Nese back into the ring. Murphy clocks Kalisto from behind, forcing the DQ, though. So that's your match. That ends there. Lucha House Party attack, but the heels get the upper hand. Lince Dorado dives off the apron onto the heels, and the Lucha House Party get back into the ring. They're standing tall at the end as Murphy and Nese go back to lick their wounds. I thought this was a good match. I mean, it's a great way to start. Lucha House Party Kalisto, he delivers. He's always he's in his element here on 205 Live. He delivers. Backstage, we see Drake Maverick welcoming back Noam Dar. Man, I popped huge when he appeared at the NXT UK show a couple of weeks ago. I popped. I thought that was really incredible. I like Noam Dar. I do. Yeah. So he congratulates Noam Dar on his victory last week against TJP, and lo and behold, Mr. Net Neutrality arrives and he says, things are different, but they're tough for me. You know, and they jaw at each other, so on and so forth. And basically just to set up a match for next week. There's no real use in talking about this all that much. Drake Maverick comes back. We were just talking about that. They roll a quick hype package for Hideo Itami, and that leads us into Lio Rush versus Enhancement Talent. I think it's Colin Delaney. I know his last name was Delaney. I think it was Colin. You know, Lio Rush, he already has the part, man. He's already completely in character. He knows exactly what he's doing, right? Holy smokes, he's just completely in utter 100% confident position. I think it's amazing how cool and controlled he is right now. And he's smiling, you know. He's got that little confident, little arrogant, little twerp you want to wring his neck, but he's so good to watch. That's the thing. When he comes out to the ring, but Akira Tozawa then comes out after him. His music hits. He comes out. Bit of a callback from last week when Lio Rush did the exact same thing to Akira Tozawa on his match. So Akira comes around, you know, and and they sort of acknowledge each other. And Leo has this shit-eating grin the whole time. He's like, "Hey, you're there. I'm glad to see you. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. You're walking around the ring." The bell hits, but Leo goes to Delaney and says, "Oh, hang on a second." He runs out, gets a chair for Tazawa, who's basically just standing up in front of the announce table, and he gets a chair and he says, "Hey, come on, man, have a seat. Sit down, my friend." Tazawa says, Leo goes back into the ring, and Tozawa says, "Thank you." He just kicks the chair away. He's not going to fall for any of these tricks. I don't know what trick it was exactly, but Delaney takes advantage of the distraction to Schoolboy Rush. That gets a 2. And this afterwards is essentially a squash match. Rush kicks him in the stomach, does a jumping roundhouse kick, displays some of that momentum control that he's starting to become famous about. It's a squash. He hits his split-legged frog splash from the top rope for the win. It was a squash match, but that it also helped to advance the story with Tazawa, as he was trying to show off to Tazawa. Tazawa has the mic on the commentator table. He's standing on the commentator table and he says, "You're great. You're good. But what have you done since you've gotten here? Nothing. You call your own shots, but do you really want to fight me?" And Leo Rush says, "Yeah, I'll fight you." And then he asks Tazawa for the mic, and they have a little exchange where Tazawa takes the mic away, and he goes, No, I'm sorry. I'll do it for real this time." And then he hands it to Leo Rush, and when Rush comes to take it, he just drops it. Yeah. Egos. There's a lot of egos in wrestling, or so I've been told. Apparently there's a lot of ego between Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley. Anyway, Jake Maverick comes out and he's like, "No, I'm losing control of my show. What's this? Everyone calling matches for each other. I make the matches here. So guess what? Next week, Lio Rush versus Akira Tozawa." There you go. We have a recap of the Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali match from last week, which is something that needs to be recapped and remembered and shoved down our throats for the rest of eternity. That was such a good match. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. There's no point in you not wanting to watch it. You can tell, and you can tell WWE wants to build something here, and they're really going for the word of mouth. They're really going for matches above everything else. And I think this is the signature that they're trying to give 205 Live. I'm really intrigued to see where they're going to go with this brand. We have a short promo where Gulak is flanked by Jack Gallagher and Spanky, Brian Kendrick. I wonder how long it's been since someone called him Spanky. Anyway, so basically just a short promo, hyping each other up. And then we get to our main event, Cedric Alexander versus Hideo Itami. Now, it's established very clearly, very quickly within the match that they don't like each other. They're in the ropes, they try to lock up. They're evenly matched, go into the ropes to break up the holds. They go for clean breaks, but Itami always tries to sucker punch, always tries to get one in. Alexander ducks, or he moves out of the way, or he eats it. At some point, there's another break call in the ropes, and Alexander backs away, but Itami just strikes him right in the throat. Alexander shows off his agility early on using head scissors on Itami. Itami's already bleeding from the mouth at this point. I think we're 3 minutes in. It's ridiculous. Alexander's being very cocky. Cedric is being very cocky in this match. And is that all you got, Itami? Come on, man. What you doing? Is that all you got? I thought he was being a bit of a shithead, if you don't mind my saying. No, it's true. So Alexander's on the, and even at some point, Alexander's on the apron. He jumps back in, and Itami connects with a big knee strike, and Itami gets. This is the moment where Itami starts becoming more in control, and then there's one shot not too long after this where you have Itami, like I said, bleeding from the mouth, and his big close up of his face, and he's looking down at Cedric, and he says, "Respect me," and there's blood like dripping off his teeth as he's saying it. That was a pretty cool visual. Itami's offense is all like strong strikes, lots of kicks, methodical precision, using Alexander's momentum against him. There's one thing that irked me during this sequence of well, for most of the match actually, but this is when it started getting to me very early on in the match, is that Itami was going for pins really, really quickly, and for relatively basic moves, like just for a knee strike, and he'd go into a pin combination. And to be honest, it didn't work for me. And you know, they keep hyping, or I should say the commentator team kept talking about how, you know, Itami is this veteran, excuse me, I'll use words, this veteran wrestler, and how he has all this experience. And I didn't get why he kept going into these quick pin attempts so early off of such basic moves, and it bugged me. And all throughout the match, you know, it'd be pin attempts, frequent pin attempts for really no reason, and I don't understand how that worked in the psychology of the match, especially for a guy like Hideo Itami. Alexander at some point mounts a comeback with a big European uppercut, hits a springboard face buster. I guess that's how you'd call it. I'm not quite sure. That's what it looked like. Maybe someone has a better definition for it, but well, we'll just call it that for now. Tommy's on the outside, and Cedric Alexander completely whiffs his tope con hilo, and he falls hard on the ground. That could not have felt good. I don't know how he missed it that bad, or how Itami wasn't there to catch him, either or. Back in the ring, he hits a Shining Wizard off a flip, and and they decide to replay the botched tope con hilo. I don't know why they decide to replay it. Like the first time you could be like, wow, that looked like it missed. And you see it the second time, you're like, no, yep, that missed. Itami hits a tornado guillotine on Alexander, hanging him off the top rope. That looked pretty savage. The guys start trading strikes again, but you know, now they're doing the exhaustion. They're getting fatigued. Itami waylays Alexander with an open hand palm strike, and man, it just resonated. That you could, if you had been in the audience, you could have felt that shock right there. He hits a fisherman suplex for 2, but doesn't hold the bridge. Pins for 2, and pins again. You know, Hideo pin Tommy. Itami tries to remove a turnbuckle pad, but Little Nate doesn't let him do it. Alexander jumps on the top rope to springboard, but Itami sweeps him off, like just tosses him completely off. Alexander falls to the outside, slams into the steel steps, and he's sitting dazed on the ground. So then Itami hits his running drop kick right on Alexander, right into steel steps. That was sick. It looked really good. The impact was amazing. So Cedric Alexander, after that hit, he's completely out, right? So Itami tries to pick him up, but this guy he's practically unconscious. He's just a sack of, he's 200 some pounds of meat, and they're trying to roll into the ring. I say 200 pounds. I don't know how much he weighs exactly, how much Cedric Alexander weighs, but you know what I mean. And so Itami tries to roll him into the ring. to the ring for the pin. Finally gets there, but only gets 2 because it took so long. Alexander was able to recuperate. So Itami is having, so that's it. So there's a huge spinning back fists to keep Alexander from mounting a comeback. They trade a couple of rope runs. Itami runs the ropes, and Alexander out of nowhere hits the lumbar check. And there you go. That was your 205 Live main event. Cedric Alexander retains the Cruiserweight Championship. And, before the match, a lot of people were on Twitter like, oh, there's no way this match is going to hold up to, Murphy and Ali last week. Well, no. And that's not necessarily the point either. And this is part of the systematic problem that we have as fans, at some point where it's like, oh, well, how are they going to top that? They don't need necessarily to top that. They just have to put on a great match that we're going to be entertained by. They don't need to keep escalating, because if you keep escalating, what happens then? And the guys get in the ring, and the only way that they can get pops is by pulling Phoenix plexes or Steinerizers, Phoenix plexes. What Dragon Lee pulled on Takahashi as a midway move, not even a finishing move. That's the only. We ourselves, we have to stop we have to quit this mentality of, oh, they need to top this. It's not a question of topping. It's just, look, just give us something that's really fun to watch. Give us a compelling story with great athleticism. That's all we need. This is what we got here. Is it better than what Murphy and Ali did last week? I'd argue no, but it was a great match, and I'm happy to have watched it. At some point, we as fans have to have a moment where we have to just take a step back, look at ourselves, and go, okay, well, what do I expect from my pro wrestlers? Do I want them to go crazy and take themselves out, go crazy and do all these crazy stunt moves, so within 4 years they don't have a career anymore? Or do I want them to just have a nice, long, extended career without having to put themselves in positions where they have to drop each other on their necks to make it happen? So that was 205 Live. Another good addition, was very solid. Putting Leo Rush over in a squash match is a perfect idea. There was a great opener with Nice and Kalisto. Again, maybe setting some seeds for some storylines there, and a fantastic main event. My only gripe about the main event really is how Itami just got into, just wanted to pin really, really bad, really, really quickly. All right. NXT now. That was just a few minutes ago. Boys and girls. Oh my. Oh my. That was something special, wasn't it? One thing at a time, shall we? Adam Cole versus Danny Birch was our first match of the night. Adam Cole has the best Titantron in all of NXT. And you can fight me on that. I'm ready to take you to task on that one. He's fighting Danny Birch, right, for the NXT North American Championship. This was set up last week, so there we go. The match is happening. We get some lockups to start. Birch and Cole trade some locks. Northern Lights suplex by Birch. Birch does a mid-air drop toe hold on Adam Cole. Adam Cole they were running the ropes, and Adam Cole was going to leapfrog over Birch, but Birch just stops and moves to the side and just grabs his leg and drags him down. It didn't look elegant, it wasn't like a super smooth move. It looked kind of clunky, but it was really cool. I thought it was pretty funny. Then they eventually go to the outside. Cole sends Birch into the post. Hits a neck breaker on the outside, and Birch threw this one punch when they get back in the ring. Throws this one punch, and it looked like it whiffed completely, and he smacked himself as well, and that's embarrassing. When the move doesn't connect, kind of like when Alistar Black missed his first Black Mass on Lars Sullivan at TakeOver Chicago. where it completely missed, but he still slapped his thigh. I was like, oh, it's so, you feel bad. I feel bad for them. It's cringy, and I'm like, oh no, a little part of me died. It's so bad. And it was the same thing tonight with Danny Birch. Birch battles back, hits a Thez press. Oh wait, no, before that, Cole hits I want to point this out. He hits a really nice snap suplex on Cole, and Cole trash talks Birch quite a bit as well, saying you're not in my league, you're not in my level. Hits a nice bicycle kick on him as well. Birch battles back, hits the Thez press. There we go. Some savage European uppercuts, a roundhouse kick, missile drop kick. He's a man possessed. Hits a nice German suplex followed by a huge clothesline and gets Cole into a crossface, but Cole sneaks out. Massive strikes by Birch on this one as well. He's just wailing on Cole, mounting a comeback. Birch hits the Tower of London. Cole kicks out at 2. Cole mounts his comeback. He fakes a super kick at some points. Birch puts up his guard, puts it down. Then Cole nails him with it. Gets a neck breaker across the knee. Covers Birch, but kicks out at 2. Super kick right on the jaw. Oh my, that was nasty. That was really, really nasty. Birch was on his knees, and Cole just like precision hit that one. It was laser guided. Hits a suplex into a neck breaker, exposes his knee for the last shot. Adam Cole retains. Pretty good match. That was fun. It was hard hitting. Good work by both guys. If give them more time, give them more room to develop, we could even get a better match than this. This was fun. This was a great opening match. We have some promos happening on the outside, don't we? We have Candice LeRae, who runs into Shayna Baszler. And I got to tell you, just before we go on, last week, I don't know if you recall, Candice LeRae cut a promo where she basically exercised herself from the Gargano Champa angle, right? Where she said, look, I love my husband, but I got to put this behind me. I've got to move on. I've got my own career to think about. And I'm like, okay, well, good. So for me, my thought last week was, okay, well, good. That means that this week, that means from this point on, Candice is done with the feud. She's going to do her own thing. She won't be Mrs. Johnny Wrestling anymore. And I was fine with that because I kind of thought that she was being a little mismanaged. Let's put it that way. I don't think that she was being booked smartly in this angle. Like that time where Tommaso Ciampa threw Johnny Gargano off the apron and Johnny bumped into Candice, who was on the outside, and Candice fell on her back and passed out. I was like, what the hell? That's a wrestling bump that she took. Candice LeRae is a wrestler. She shouldn't be passed out because she took a bump off of someone who was falling off the ring apron. This is stupid. They're getting medical people. And anyway, let's not dwell on the past. I'm just happy. So I was happy when they did that promo last week. So when I saw Candice coming out and they were doing the beat reporter on the scene interview style, and I was like, Candice, we'd like to ask you a question. I'm like, oh my God. I was crossing my fingers and I was like, I hope they don't ask anything about Tommaso Ciampa or anything. And they don't. I'm like, good. And then she runs into Shayna Baszler. I'm like, yes, okay. So we don't have to talk about Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano at all. Perfect. So to me, now it's cemented. Thank God Candice LeRae has nothing to do with the Gargano Ciampa angle anymore. And that is good news because she needs to be able, she has to be doing her own thing right now. So basically, that's so she runs into Shayna Baszler and she's like, I heard what you said about me. And Shayna Baszler says, "You're cute." Oh my! Why did she stick to being a cute little sidekick? And they fight. That's perfect. They start fighting with each other, get pulled apart. Fantastic. We get another promo after this. We get Dakota Kai, who's being interviewed and said, Shayna Baszler had some choice words for the women's division. What do you think, Dakota Kai? And she says, Dakota says, Shayna's gonna be seeing me again at some point because I'm going to start raising my profile and getting back up, climbing the ladder in the women's division. I'll be getting another shot at the women's championship at some point. And then Lacey Evans arrives, and she's holding a purse. And Lacey Evans opens the purse. She looks inside and says, "Would you look at that? Nobody cares." I don't know. That made me chuckle. I thought that was funny. Look at that. Nobody cares. Then she closes her purse. She says what Lacey Evans says that the women's division needs. What the women's division needs. Words. Is a woman with class and sophistication. And Dakota says, how about I kick the class off your face next week? And we seem to have a match. Lacey Evans and Dakota Kai next week. And I'm a fan of Lacey Evans. I think she's improving. I think she's getting so much better. And I like the fact that I also like how they've sort of transitioned her gimmick very gently. From like a pinup girl to like this old school Americana kind of family values woman, but without being without it being a housewife angle, because after all, her finishing move is the women's right. I think it's really interesting what they're doing with her. And she's improving so much in the ring. It's exciting to see this. And it's exciting because she's really homegrown NXT. And this is what, this is one of the reasons why we watch NXT. It's to see these stars grow and surprise us. I'm still waiting for Kona Reeves to do that.
Ooh, that was a little shade there, Warren. That was a little shade you threw there, Warren.
Mm-hmm. Next match we get is Vanessa Bourne versus Kairi Sane. Vanessa Bourne comes to the ring accompanied by killer entrance music. Wow. Vanessa Bourne's entrance music is really good. They brought up the funny story, because I thought about it because the commentator team brought it up again, how Bourne was wondering why Kairi dresses up like a pirate. This was a promo she cut, I think, 2 weeks ago or something, and I was watching it with my daughter, Little Hayes. My daughter watches NXT with me religiously, and so we were watching NXT, and and we watched Vanessa Bourne cut that promo where essentially that's what she says. I don't understand why she has to dress up like a pirate. She should focus on the match. And Little Hayes just sort of looks at me and she says, well, maybe if she dressed like a pirate, she'd win more often. Cute. I like that. Vanessa Bourne is a... Wouldn't that be funny, though? She dresses up as a pirate and suddenly she's on a winning streak. No, it wouldn't be funny. That'd be terrible. We shouldn't do that. Another funny thing, Percy, as Vanessa was coming in, he said something to the effect that Vanessa had said that she got 17 marriage proposals on social media just last week. Well, obviously her DMs on Twitter aren't open. And she would have got a lot more than that, and not necessarily marriage proposals. Ugh. So the match starts. We get some mind games to start with. Bourne face slams Kairi Sane. I wrote Kane in my notes. What did I write? Kane. It's not Kane. I wrote Kane. Like the guy, the big red machine guy. Why'd I do that? I need to pay attention more to my notes. But Bourne face slams Sane. And but Sane hits a nice dragon screw leg whip. Yes. Yeah. By the way, we can settle that debate right now. I usually pronounce it whip. Yes, it's not whip, it's whip. Sorry. You'll have to get used to that if you want to stick around. Well, this is the kind, maybe if you're, maybe it's a speech impediment. Maybe it's something that I can fix eventually. Maybe with, subscribe to Fightful Select, and maybe, I'll get dictation classes thanks to you guys signing up. That could be a tier. Kairi Sane goes for a crucifix, but Bourne reverses it into a Samoan drop, and she gets into gets Sane into some body scissors. She does a nice twisting suplex, which I thought was pretty nice. I don't know how effective overall it is as a move. Like, I don't know how, in wrestling, if you twist, it's more momentum, right? It's more damage. It hurts more because you're twisting. So, probably, but legitimately, I doubt there's any real extra impact to that. But it was cool. That was nice. And then we get then the story we start to tell in the match here is that Kairi's hurt her back. So Bourne starts working the back by tying her up, tying Kairi Sane up in the ropes. She does some stretches, some kicks. Sane eventually mounts a comeback with a flipping neck breaker. She favors the back. You can tell her back is hurt. She's been watching Matt Jackson sell. Is it Matt who has the bad back? Kayfabe? I can't remember. I think so, right? It's Matt who has the bad back. I'm just being stupid. Well, maybe she has been watching Bullet Club. Who wouldn't? So she's favoring the back. She nails a pair of vicious double axe handles. Like those resonated. Those were some hard axe handles. She hits the interceptor spear, the sliding D. She goes to the top rope for the insane elbow, but Bourne counters with a headbutt. That's not something you see every day when someone's going up onto the top rope, but she did it. But Sane mounts a quick comeback, hits a spinning back fist. Bruh! I'm sure Vanessa is still ringing in her ears right now. That was savage. And Sane then ends the match with a submission move that I don't remember her doing. I don't remember seeing it before. She calls it the anchor, which is a reverse Boston Crab, I guess. She bridges all the way over. And you know what? It makes me very happy that Kairi and Vanessa Bourne tabs. But it makes me very happy that Sane is that Sane has another finisher than the insane elbow. And not because I don't like the insane elbow. Au contraire, mon frère, I adore watching her do it. Like everyone else on the planet who's ever watched Kairi Sane, that's what you want to see. But I've talked to this with friends and with people who are more knowledgeable than I am in the realm of wrestling moves and how to take them and how to protect yourself. And I've had these discussions wondering how does Kairi protect herself while pulling the insane elbow, because she essentially arches her entire side up as she's coming down. So when she hits, she's landing straight on her body. There's nothing cushioning her fall. She's landing on her opponent. I mean, for me, every time I see her do an insane elbow, I'm like, oh man, she's shaving months off of her career at a time right there. So I'm glad that she's adding this cool looking finisher to her arsenal, and that will be legitimately thrilled to see. We'll be like, oh yes, this is another finisher of hers. Sure, we'd like to see the insane elbow, but we don't need to see it every time. Kind of like when Charlotte Flair decided there was that period where all she was doing was not all she was doing, but she was doing her moonsaults at every match. She was doing it at live shows. And Charlotte, you don't have to do your moonsaults to the outside every single time. You don't. It goes back to the point I was having just a little earlier in the show. I want my wrestlers to have long, successful careers. I want them to be good. I want them to maintain. Anyway, after this, and Curry cuts a promo after this. She's adorable. She's adorable. She says that she's beat Shayna before at the Mae Young Classic 2017. And she says she'll do it again and again and again. And Full Sail starts chanting along. God, you have to love the Full Sail crowd. They start chanting. So everyone's like, again, 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 again. That was great. She says, I'm coming for the treasure. You know, Kyrie at this point, since we're still it's still a developmental territory, Kyrie needs to start working on her English. It's not her strong point. The promo she cut last week in the interview segment, it was adorable. You know, and if I were to speak Japanese, I wouldn't do any better, and I wouldn't look half as good doing it. But man, her English needs some work. But that's fine. She has time. This can happen. Look at how good Shinsuke has gotten on Maine. He had much. His English was much poorer when he was in NXT than it is now. To be able to cut the promos that he does, he's been improving. So I have complete confidence. They just have to give her mic time, essentially, and dictation classes. The same dictation classes that I need to stop saying whip and saying whip, but I say whip. Maybe we can, like buy a Linda account, like me and her, and share lynda.com and share. All right, it's going too far. Match is announced for next week. A fatal four-way between Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, Candice LeRae, and Bianca Belair to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship to be defended at TakeOver, the next TakeOver. So I guess, does that mean Nikki Cross isn't on Maine? Or are we just waiting out for these tapings to be done? What if Nikki Cross wins again? Would she do that? I'm going to be honest. It's kind of a shame that Nikki's TakeOver match will not be her last NXT match, because it was a perfect way for her to go. It was perfect. Just falling asleep with a big smile on her face. Man, that was Nikki Cross encapsulated in that match. She wanted to fight. She wanted to feel something. This is what she wanted. I don't know. Maybe she's still going up to Maine because, maybe the tapings. I don't follow the spoilers. Like I let myself be surprised. So I don't know how far in we are in the tapings or whatnot. Maybe we're in a moment where things are just crossing over, and maybe in a couple of weeks she'll end up on Maine. I don't know. But I'm kind of disappointed that her last match in NXT will not have been her TakeOver match against Baszler. Gonna have a drink. Hey, did you know that there's vanilla Coke out in Canada anyway? I like me some vanilla Coke. Thing is, no, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm doing this for Fightful Select. I have to, keep things moving. This isn't my own podcast where I can just ramble off on anything. I'm showing discipline, guys. Be happy for me. We have an Alistar Black promo. He's walking outside. A beat reporter runs up to him, says, "Hey, would you share your thoughts on your match with Tommaso Ciampa?" And Alistar starts, and he runs into Johnny Gargano. And Gargano's, basically Gargano says Tommaso Ciampa cannot be NXT champion. And Alistar's like, And he starts to walk away. And he says, no, you don't understand. Tommaso, this can't happen, Alistar. And Alistar Black's like, look, I know this is of personal interest to you, but that's fine. Let me worry about this. You don't have to get involved, basically. And Gargano looks at him and says, Alistar, I know what I'm doing. All right. And then I like this, Nigel starts saying, "Oh, strong words from the champion, Johnny Gargano obviously still not done." And you feel like he's transitioning back to the action in the ring, and you feel like that we're about to transition back into the ring. And Alistar enters the building and he gets blindsided by Champa. And I'm like, and I love it when they do that shit. I really do, because I buy into it, and I still get surprised every time they do, like when they put the stinger, the copyright stinger at the bottom of the screen at the end, and then someone attacks after, and I'm like, I know this isn't supposed to happen. I thought this was done. I like it. I'm a sucker for that. I'm a mark. There you go. I said it. Can you deal with it? That's the other issue. Quick word, though, about Alistar Black's promo. I think I'm going to go create a new character on GK18. I'm going to call him Alistar Promo. Remember, I love Alistar Black. Preface. A lot of people do. I'm not alone. This isn't news. But remember when Alistar never spoke? Remember that? Remember how that was like one of the cornerstones of his awesome feud with Velveteen Dream last year? You know, how Velveteen wanted him to say his name, but Alistar just never friggin' spoke. And it's like, Dream, it's not going to happen. He barely says anything. And when he finally did pick up a mic and said Velveteen Dream, or I don't remember exactly what he said, and it was, everyone lost their minds, because not only did he speak, but he said Velveteen's name. Alistar right now is one of the guys on NXT who is most ready for prime time. He's most ready for main. I think none of us can argue on that point. But his weak spot right now are his promos. Of the top guys that they have right now on NXT, he's one of the weakest. And that's because of the mystique that his character had all the time that he was silent, or practically silent, where he didn't cut promos all in and about themselves, And then he started talking, and every time he speaks, I feel like it just chips away a little bit at that mystique that he had. That he has, I should say. But it just erodes, because the way he delivers, the way he talks, it feels like I'm watching another character. It's not the same Alistar Black. You know what I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's not a knock. It's more like, man, I really want you to work on your promos, man, because your ring work is succulent. Right now, you need to. I want Alistar to do better on the mic, or I want him to return to being a mute, and just whenever he speaks, everyone shuts the hell up, and you can hear a pin drop because it never happens, kind of thing. Having him do, Alistar, what do you think? It sort of wrecks that image that we have of Alistar Black. Anyway. So basically Champa blindsides him and DDTs him off a table. It was cool. Adds heat to the match. Is Tommaso Ciampa versus Alistar Black going to happen in a couple of weeks? I'd expect a swerve. I expect a swerve. I don't think it's going to happen. Or if it happens, there's no way Ciampa's winning, because Gargano's going to get involved. And maybe this is going to piss off Alistar, because right now Alistar doesn't have a contender for TakeOver. And that's weird. It's weird that because SummerSlam's not that far away, guys. We're like a month away, 4 weeks, 5 tops. It's not that far away. Why doesn't the champ have a clear opponent at this point? He has an opponent in 2 weeks, Tommaso Ciampa, but after that, we don't know. It's weird. Look, I have faith in NXT Creative as opposed to anything else they do on main. We'll just go ahead. I know this is going to involve Johnny Gargano in some way. And it's going to end up being another fight with Gargano and Ciampa. And is it going to be maybe a triple threat? A triple threat wouldn't be a bad way to get the belt off of Alistar without having Alistar pinned. But then what do you do with Alistar if he loses the belt? I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. Our main event. Look, guys, I was expecting a banger here this evening, and we got one. If any of you had seen the amazing match that the Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain put on in London at Royal Albert Hall a couple of weeks ago, you knew that what we were getting into here tonight was something special. And I expected Mustache Mountain to lose, but not like this. This was so amazing. And I know that in 2018, when we're going to start doing our retrospectives, we're going to talk about feud of the year in WWE. Everyone is going to talk about Gargano Ciampa. Everyone's going to talk about, Omega Okada, right? We're going to talk about but we must not forget this nugget of feud that we got between the Undisputed Era and British Strong Style, including Dunn. They put on some astounding matches on NXT and during the UK tournament as well. They did such a good job. Everyone did a fantastic job at this. And look again tonight. Man, this was such a good match of the year candidate. Warren says yes. Anyways, and immediately as this match starts, a couple of notes just before we start. Didn't you find it sad that Kyle O'Reilly didn't know what to do with himself as he was coming to the ring and couldn't play air guitar on the belt? I felt kind of bad. I was like, oh no, there's poor little guy. We should have at least given him a replica or something, maybe a broom, just something that his hands could use. But that didn't last long. It didn't last long at all. I really dig Mustache Mountain's new NXT theme. I think I hadn't heard it before the NXT shows. I hadn't heard it before the UK tournament. Didn't have memory of it anyway. But I really like it. It's a good theme. It's new, right? Immediately, Full Sail goes into dueling Undisputed Mustache Mountain chants. They chanted. They did not stop chanting for the first 7 minutes, it feels, of the fight. Full Sail was into this. That was so great. And this adds to the match as a television viewer. And you're like, and at some point I'm watching the guys doing their chain wrestling, and we're much later on in the match, and they're working on Trent Seven's limbs, and I'm like, they're still chanting. They haven't stopped. Gotta love the Full Sail crowd. You really do. So the match starts, and Undisputed Era goes right after Mustache Mountain immediately. But Mustache Mountain do-si-dos and turns the tables on Era. They slam both Kyle O'Reilly and Strong on each other. Bate flips off the top rope. Then they do the Trent Seven jumping, flipping senton thing where he flips off of Tyler Bates' hands. All right, that's fantastic. babyface and control stuff. And even brawl outside the ring. And the turning point, and this is the most essential part of this match right here, is when Strong on the outside drops Trent Seven's knee onto the steel steps. That allows Undisputed Era to gain control and gain control. Oh my, did they ever gain control and maintain it? There was nothing Trent Seven or Tyler Bate could do to break what they to break Strong and O'Reilly on this one. Kyle O'Reilly puts on leg locks. Oh yeah, I lost my place in my notes. Okay, there we go. So the Era do a fantastic job of keeping Trent Seven away from Bate. They even do the spot, where he's really close to getting the tag, and Kyle O'Reilly runs to the outside, and just as Seven is diving to get the tag, Kyle O'Reilly just whips Tyler Bate off the apron. Seven hits a DDT to try to get to his partner, but Kyle O'Reilly runs in and knocks Bate off the apron again. Kyle O'Reilly is putting on leg locks. But finally, Trent Seven gets the hot tag to Bate, and his knee is trash. His knee is completely trash at this point, and this is the main part of the story that we have to remember, is that at this point, Trent Seven can barely stand up. But oh my, Tyler Bate is a house of fire, isn't he? He does a huge back body drop on Strong. Strong feels like he lifted 20 feet into the air. He does Morrow called it a standing shooting star press, but he was running. He ran into it. He ran and he stopped like for a breath and whoop, and then did the shooting star press. That was really amazing. Bate does the airplane spin spot. He did that in the UK as well, where he has, I think he had Strong on his shoulders, and then he lifted the legs of Kyle O'Reilly and he started spinning with both guys. I mean, Tyler Bate's a strong guy. He's a strong dude. He slams Bate. He slams Kyle O'Reilly into the corner, hits an explosive suplex on Strong onto Kyle O'Reilly, who was in the corner. It's just magic at this point. It's just fantastic offense and such great chemistry between these guys. This is what's amazing, is that all four of these guys work so well together. He does a beautiful German suplex. Strong is with me tonight. He does the beautiful German on Strong with a pinning bridge, was gorgeous. And during this, as Tyler Bate is taking control, and it's logical that he is as well, because he's fresh. He hadn't been in the match at all at this point. Trent Seven is being looked after by medical staff. They're like, oh, okay, this is, it's not a standard procedure, I'd say, but sure, why not? It's driving the story home. Tyler Bate sort of looks over at his friend, and he's like, I hope he's okay. He hits the Tyler Driver 97 on Strong, goes for the pin, but Kyle O'Reilly breaks it up. Seven wants to tag in. At some point the medical staff goes away, and he wants to tag in, and Bate sort of reaches over, and he's like, he pulls his hand back and says, "No, man, you're hurt, and I'm not putting you through that. You're not getting back in here. Yeah, I have this." And that was so good. I was like, "Oh my God. Okay, this is great." It's like Bate is like, "No, you're hurt. You're injured. I'm taking care of this." It was so good. He gets a half Nelson backbreaker, but Strong hits a half Nelson backbreaker on Bate. Kyle O'Reilly hits a brain buster, and like a snappy, tight one there, right? On Bate. Bate is fighting off both guys, rolls into the corner, and Trent Seven tags himself back in. Oh, okay. So this wasn't It wasn't something where he was rolling over to try and get the pin. No, this was more like an accident. Rolls into the corner. Kyle O'Reilly's trying to get at him. He tags himself in. Seven starts throwing lariats left and right, but he's on a gimp leg. He can barely stand on it. He's chopping the guys down. Hits the 7-star lariat which is essentially a rainmaker, right? And he picks up Strong into a torture rack, but he can't do it because he can't stand on both legs. How are you going to pick up a guy with only one leg? Not a smart move, Trent Seven. Chop, but I guess adrenaline makes you do weird things. Strong chop blocks him, and he has the strong clutch locked in. That's something I hadn't seen in a while, and I'm glad. That's good. I like it. Seems to me I can't remember when the last time Roderick Strong did the strong clutch on someone. Bate comes in for the save, breaks up the hold. Kyle O'Reilly locks Seven up in a heel hook. And he's trying to get to Bate, and this drags on for a while. Well, but I say drag, but it was like dramatic because you have basically Trent Seven, his leg is already toast. It's already in shambles. And you have Kyle O'Reilly snapping these heel hooks. And man, Kyle O'Reilly can make the application of a lock look so convincing and sharp and crisp. Damn, this boy's good. Like, he'd slap those on. I was like, man, all right, he's gonna tear his leg off. That's how good it looked. Kyle O'Reilly makes sure, Trent is trying to get to Bate, but he drags him to the middle of the ring. They start striking each other. Trent Seven is doing everything he can. He's striking, kicking. Eventually, Kyle O'Reilly releases the hold. But Kyle O'Reilly comes back and hits a double knee bar on Trent Seven. And at this point, nobody understands how Seven hasn't tapped out yet. Full Sail is going nuts. Tyler Bate is going crazy. And this goes on for a while. The drama is there. And Tyler Bate grabs his towel, the one that he comes in, and he's hesitant because he sees his friend is in pain and he's not tapping out. What does he do? He throws the towel in. The match is over. Undisputed Era are your new NXT Tag Team Championship owners. Cole and Bobby Fish come out to celebrate at the top of the ramp with the boys. It's nice to see them have all the gold back. I was expecting this. Wasn't expecting Mustache Mountain to hold on to the gold for very long past the UK tournament because I think the point was just to help establish these stars more in our North American minds, which I think they were successful in doing. But they're obviously going to be big names on the UK brand, and they can get all the titles there as well. But holy hell, what a match. What beautiful, magical storytelling here. Flawless. Absolutely flawless storytelling here. And this is probably wrapping up the British Strong Style Undisputed Era feud. I'd be okay for them to, cripes, let them fight for the next decade amongst each other. I'd be fine with that. But no, we do need to move on. Undisputed Era needs to move on, and we need to recenter the tag team division, get them back involved into the title picture because they are the champs. But man, what an... Look, if you're just listening to the review now and you haven't watched NXT yet, drop everything. Go on the network. You got to watch this. This is a match of the year for me. It's going to be in there. This was something special. It was so damn good. And the ending made sense. Everything worked. Everything clicked. Thank God for 205 Live and NXT. For our WWE palate cleansers. It was so good. Just like that sip of Coke. vanilla Coke. Guys, thank you so very much for dropping in. This is how we're going to wrap up my very first 205 Live NXT combo review. 205 Live NXT combo, you know, you come in here. It's exactly like when you go to a combination KFC and Pizza Hut. You come for one, you come for the or the other, but man, you can have both. You can choose to just have the chicken. You can choose to just have the pizza, or you can have chicken and pizza. Man, this is the beauty of what we're doing here at FightfulSelect.com. This was the first episode here, and it was free. It was free to so that we can get to know each other, create a rapport, so that we become familiar with each other. Because starting next week, this is going to be exclusive for FightfulSelect.com members. Members only. So if you want to see more of my NXT 205 Live reviews, well, you have to join up. You have to sign up and subscribe to Fightful Select. What do you get for Fightful Select? Oh, man, I am so glad you asked. You get all sorts of extra content. Not only do you get all the existing content that's available on Fightful.com, all the great news, articles, scoops. There's lots of scoops. You get all of that, but then you also get a whole bunch of supplemental content. It's not gated content. It's just more content. You get a whole bunch of other podcasts. You get the Weekender podcast, which Sean Ross Sapp hosts. You get interviews. You get dark match commentary. Sean is an experienced and very good match caller. He finds a dark match and he just adds commentary, a dark match that happened in an arena somewhere, and he adds commentary on top of it. We got interviews. There's also you also get news releases. You know, sometimes some special news scoops that Sean has. Well, he'll post them to members first, so that for instance, we can find out before everyone else that Brock Lesnar is going to show up at UFC, that he's in the USDA testing pool. We knew that before everyone else did. Why? Because we're members of FightfulSelect.com. So join FightfulSelect.com. It's not expensive, and you'll be supporting one of the best combat sports news sites out there. So please go ahead and do that. And then you can support me, Mr. Warren Hayes, because I do things for Fightful, but I do things also on my side as well. You can follow me on Twitter, Mr. Warren Hayes. That's where you want to go. And I do my own reviews. I do Raw and SmackDown reviews. I also do previews. I do a whole bunch of stuff. You know, like tomorrow I'll be doing my predictions for Extreme Rules. And starting next week, you know what I'm doing also for FightfulSelect.com? I'll be doing weekly wrap-ups of the G1 Climax. Man, G1 season, it's upon us. It's going to be exciting. I hope you guys sign up to Fightful Select so that you can get access to all that content. Follow me on on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes, so that you can dive into my brain and you can ask me questions. You can tell me stuff. You can tell me that you disagree with me, and I can tell you that I agree that you disagree with me. We can have a great time like that. This was a lot of fun, and I hope we continue having fun together on FightfulSelect.com. So go ahead, subscribe, man. What do you got to lose? My name is Mr. Warren Hayes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you next time.